Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome to this event. As you know, we're here to celebrate so many different things that are happening in our nation and in our city. And so it's important that we carve out this little space just to pay attention to the really important things. I know a whole lot of things are in the news, but we're going to kind of have this moment where we focus on Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're going to focus on what we're doing as an organization. So as you know, CASONY, I don't have to go over what we do, and if you're not sure, we can send you to the website, or there are handouts there that you can see the work that we're doing. My name is Margaret Gordon, and I'm the newest board member. And so, and so I'm really excited to be in this role, to be affiliated with such a powerful organization. We might be small in number, but we're stretched really wide. And so this is just one aspect of what we do, just keep our communities together and keep our people informed about energy and opportunities in workforce development. You hear, I'm not stealing your thunder, sir, but I just want to say thank you to our sponsors. First of all, the Center of Fiction, where we are right now. Thank you so much for opening this beautiful space. I really like it. To also the Caribbean Research Center at Medgar Evers, thank you. And of course, the National Grid, where I used to work. And of course, to Jasol for just being a part of this evening's event. So thank you again. Sony's hosting this, but we couldn't have done it without your sponsorship and your contribution. Sit back. I'm going to turn it over to Jerry, who's going to lead you through a very interesting and engaging afternoon or evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Let me try that again. Good evening, everyone. I like it. Thank you very much. As Margaret mentioned, my name is Jerry Dawes. I'm a member of the leadership team for the Caribbean American Society of New York, CASONY, and I just want to welcome you here this evening. I know you had choices. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but you chose to be here, and we're going to make it worth your while. So thank you again for coming out. Before we go too far in the program, we are a spiritual people. So Wilton, I'd like to invite you to come on up and just give us a blessing, please.
Thank you, Jerry. Let's all close our eyes. Father, we thank you, Father, for this evening among friends that are looking to you, hallelujah, for the next step to help mankind. You said in the New Testament, I leave you two commandments. Love me with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your spirit, and love your neighbor with all your might. That's you. And the Lord loves you. And what CASONY is doing, and under the leadership of Horace Davis, is bringing us together. Hallelujah. He has the Father's heart, bringing his people together so they can explore, so they can dream, so they can plan, so they can execute, so they can reign in power in the name of Jesus. Father, bless this evening. Father, bless all the speakers. Father, may your wisdom pour out of them. Father, let us leave here inspired, hallelujah, to do your will, to do better, to help our brothers, to help our sisters. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Wilton, that was great. Thank you very much. I promise, your evening is going to be worth your while. So the theme for this evening was Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're also going to have a little bit of a focus on workforce development, particularly as it pertains to the energy industry. So to kick us off, I'd also like to invite up to the stage the president of the Caribbean American Society of New York, Horace Davis. Horace, please come on up.
Wonderful. It's great to see everyone here. Good evening, and good evening. Can I get a good evening back? Good evening. Awesome, awesome. So my name is Horace Davis, as Gerald said, and it is truly a pleasure to have you here tonight because when we think about the two things that we're here to celebrate, an organization, the National Dominican Day Parade, and what they do and the impact that they have in the community, it is right for us to acknowledge and celebrate them at this time for Hispanic Heritage Month. While at the same time, October is Energy Awareness Month. And this is an area that is about, I believe, as relevant as any other area in this country and in this world. You see what's happening in terms of climate change, but beyond that, and why we're focusing in on workforce development tonight is because we want to make sure that our community and our people are benefiting from what is happening in this country and in the world as we transition to the clean energy environment. So let me take a step back though and say a little bit about CASONY, the Caribbean American Society of New York. The overarching mission of CASONY is to build and cultivate a stronger sense of pride within the Caribbean community. And what we mean by that really is looking at the Caribbean community holistically. French speaking, English speaking, Spanish speaking, Dutch speaking. The Caribbean is a significant part of the New York mosaic. When you think about just in terms of numbers, one of the things I often will quote, and I think this speaks volumes, is the fact that 5 of the top 9 immigrant countries in New York City have one thing in common. And that one thing is their Caribbean islands. And that doesn't include Puerto Rico or the other US territories. So if we come together as one community, think about the impact that we can and we should have. Now, the pillars of CASONY, we have 4 pillars. They're on the website, casony.org, you can see that. But briefly, it is business, supporting businesses that support our community, which is why I'm so glad that we're doing this today. And we have companies like National Grid, who believes in the community and works to support the community. The second objective or pillar of CASONY is to encourage our children to pursue careers in the area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We recognize the importance of having a good, solid education, but we want to make sure that that education is aligned with the careers of the future. The third pillar is networking. And that's all about the sharing of resources. And I don't think I need to say any more about that because you're all here today. And you recognize the importance of a team and the fact that we all have different strengths, but we are so much stronger when we come together. The fourth pillar is to engage in the development of policies, regulation that impacts our community. And that's important, especially when I think about energy, because for those who are in the industry that understand the legislation that's being proposed, and you hear about Justice 40 and all sorts of acronyms, we've got to look beyond that, make sure that we understand it, and that we're informing and making sure that our communities are informed to make the right decisions as to the things that we should support and the things that we should not. And so that is really what the Caribbean American Society of New York is all about. And as we move forward, we've got a plan to build out this organization through the development of chapters and affinity groups. We already have the Energy Affinity Group, which is really behind sponsoring this event. And so with that, I'm going to take it to the first thing that we're here to do. And for that, I'm going to ask Mr. Wilton Cedeno of the National Dominican Day Parade if he would come up to the stage. All right. So, I have to let you know, as an organization, sometimes you look up to other organizations because of what they do and the impact that they have. And tonight, we are going to be doing something really special because for the first time, we've created an award, and it's called the CASONY Impact Award. And that award is being given to the National Dominican Day Parade for all the work that they're doing to have true impact in our Caribbean community. Now, when I say that I look up to this organization, I'm going to tell you why. This organization every year puts on an amazing parade. But what they do goes so much further than the parade. Matter of fact, I have to say, I don't even know how they do it. They have multiple events in every borough. They sponsor an event to celebrate the Dominican community that exists in those boroughs and supported by each of the borough presidents. So think about putting on a significant event. They're putting on 5 events in each of the boroughs. Beyond that, there's another event that they're hosting at Racy Mansion to celebrate, again, the Dominican culture and their heritage. Beyond that, they have their gala, and then there is the parade, which I had the honor of being a part of and participating as the Queensboro honorary Dominican. And so, thank you. You can clap. And so for that, and for all the work that they do, and I'll have Wilton say a little bit about the organization, we as an organization would like to recognize the National Dominican Day Parade with the first CASONY Impact Award. And it reads, the CASONY Impact Award presented to the Board of Directors of the National Dominican Day Parade Incorporated in recognition of their outstanding role in promoting the rich culture, folklore, and tradition of the Dominican Republic and their continuous effort to sponsor scholarships and mentorship programs highlighting the significant contributions of the Dominican community in the USA, presented on October 13th of 2023. Thank you so much. You got that? Okay.
Jerry, why don't you come over here, man?
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So hold that right there. And I'm going to have Wilton say a few words, but before he does that, I want you to know Senator Parker, hopefully he will be here, but there's also a proclamation from the senator honoring the National Dominican Day Parade. And I'll just touch on a couple things here. Whereas a great state is only as great as those individuals who perform exemplary service on behalf of their community, whether through unique achievement in professional or other endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of good citizenship. And it goes on to say so much more. But I think I kind of mentioned that already. And what I want is Wilton to say a little bit about what his organization does, because what they do is so much more than a parade.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Horace. I mean, this is a great honor. Uh, Horace said, how do we do this? It's not us by ourselves. We have a lot of people, a lot of volunteers. One of our top volunteers is Kaya. He's right back here. Kaya, can you join me? Join me for a second? Because this is it's a group effort. Um, one of the things that we've done through the years, past years, is Jerry and Horace. Through all the different endeavors, we've always looked at the next generation and giving back and providing scholarship funds. So one of the things that the National Dominican Day Parade does is really work with students, work with the next generation, but not just giving them funds, but also providing opportunities, mentorship opportunities, and internships. And we've acquired a relationship with Google where these students can take training on technology, cybersecurity, computer programming, and it's completely paid for. And what Google will do after their 6-month certification, they'll help them receive jobs. So this is another option for these young, talented kids to really make a difference. And that's and that's why I'm so proud of what the National Dominican Day Parade does, because we help the kids. And this year, for the first time, we've reached a level where we're going to award, and you are hearing it first. We're going to have probably a press release, but we're going to award $240,000 in scholarships to students. And really, that's why I dedicate all this time, is really, to help the next generation. Yes, it's great to celebrate the culture and bring people together, but it's also good to empower, the new generation to ensure that we have a voice in the future. Because if we don't provide the educational tools for them, they are the ones that are going to carry our legacy. So we want to make sure they're strong, they're intelligent, they have the right ethics, they're going to work hard, and they're going to remember their culture. And that's why I'm very proud of the National Dominican Day Parade, and also the work that CASONY is doing. Like Horace said, he's an honorary Dominican. He has all his papers, so so he can travel to the Dominican Republic and all. Once he says these 3 words, he's good. Que lo que? I mean, he says that he's fine. So like to thank you, and like to thank Horace and Jerry and the entire CASONY board. Welcome Margaret to the board, and I see my good friend Renee McClure. Welcome, and thank you for all you guys do. And I know you're going to bring all the Caribbeans together. And I see this man has a vision. I mean, he's been talking about this vision for years, for decades, and now it's coming to fruition. So I'm very proud of what you've done and all the work. But we'll see more of CASONY in the future.
Jerry, you gotta do the honors, man. Here you go, sir. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Jerry, but I'm going to end with this because I think what you see here and what I see in the National Dominican Day Parade, it is really about the way they get things done. And it really speaks to Caribbean pride. And when I think about pride, I think about it in terms of the acronym. The P is for the people and having purpose. R is for understanding your roles and responsibilities. I is for integrity. D is for determination. And most of all, E is for excellence. Understanding that excellence is a journey and not a destination. So Wilton, I'm just honored and really proud of all the work that you guys do. And then to be an honorary Dominican.
All right, great job. Thank you very much, Horace. So to continue with our program, we're making a little bit of a shift. So, Hispanic Heritage Month, we've just seen the board of the Dominican Day Parade get honored. So we're shifting gears slightly to the other theme for this evening, which is all about workforce development. So we have some speakers. For those of you who registered, you would have seen the names of the various speakers, their bios on the website. Speakers are here. What I'm going to ask is, I'm going to call on each speaker to come up, make a few remarks. Just take a seat at the table, because I'm going to ask if you could just hold your questions to the end, because I'd like for all of the speakers to complete their remarks. And as soon as they complete their remarks, they'll be on stage, and I'll open up the floor to questions for all of them. But we have some really dynamic folks here that we've invited to come talk to you. So the first up, Carlos Bannister. Carlos, his bio is on the website, but I'm just gonna talk a little bit about him. He is the Agency Contract Diversity Officer and the Chief MWBE Officer for the New York City Department of Transportation. In his efforts to provide more opportunities to disadvantaged minority and women-owned businesses, he has looked for opportunities for the agency to debundle large contracts, work with senior management to change policies and procedures, and he's basically creating opportunities. I've worked with him personally, so I know exactly what he's all about, and that's one of the reasons we invited him here tonight. Carlos, come on up.
Good evening. On behalf of Udonis Rodriguez, he sends his regards to CASONY. He wishes he could be here. We consider CASONY a wonderful partner to help us reach the mayor's goal of reaching 30% in NWBEs. One of the greatest investments that we have as New Yorkers is the talent of New Yorkers. And one of the things that the mayor is pushing for is workforce development. And he's looking at workforce development in various aspects through contracting is one of the major ones. I don't know if many of you are aware, there is a requirement at almost all of these capital improvement construction contracts, over $3 million, there must be apprenticeship requirements, where the contractors must use the union halls to hire the entry-level positions for apprentice. As you know, truthfully, as you look around throughout the New York City with all the wonderful work that's being done, how many apprentices look like me and you? Not many. So Udonis Rodriguez and myself and many other agencies are pushing union contractors and unions to hire more people that look like us. We've been at Local 1010, and they have made commitments of not just going up in Long Island and other areas. Let's go into the 5 boroughs where people that look like us could get wonderful opportunities. We've been challenging Local 3, in the J Division especially, as you see us improve on the street light traffic. Those guys make roughly around $200,000 a year. When you ask them how many of them are Black or Hispanic, the numbers are very low, and that's unacceptable. As the mayor says, everyone can get some piece of this pie. So we're making push into the apprenticeship program where there are more opportunities that for people that look like me and you. Another way he does it is through contracting, is a sense of having contracting goals for disadvantaged business enterprise and minority women business. I oversee that program. I'm the agency chief contract and diversity officer, where I'm proud to say that the agency was originally at 11% in the utilization of NWBs. Now we are at 23%. So we have much work to be done, and we're so glad to be here to partner with Horace and his team to get more contracts in the hands of our people. Some of the things I've noticed, a lot of the information is an information desert. We do not know where to go to find the contracts. We do not know what's the next steps. I'm here to help tonight to start the navigation in the process to make life a little bit easier. You got to do some work, but you got to know and understand that you got a brother behind the scenes at DOT working for you.
And I know that for sure. If you could give Carlos another round of applause, please. As I mentioned, both Carlos and the Commissioner Adonis Rodriguez, they are real. We've worked with them, Horace and I have worked with them personally, and we know exactly what they're all about. So they are about creating opportunities, as you said, for people who look like you and I. All right, so at the end, you'll have an opportunity to ask Carlos some questions. Let me bring up our next speaker. Renee McClure, my sister, National Grid Director of Community and Customer Management. Renee has been doing a lot of fantastic work in the community for many, many years. Over 34 years with National Grid. Her expertise lies within IT and community engagement. She has an IT background, foundation of technological skills, and passion for the community, which has created a win-win combination. Renee, without further ado, please come on up and give us your remarks.
So good evening again. Good evening. Okay, so National Grid is an international company, and we are about 23,000 strong, minus one, since Margaret left. But we want to say congratulations on your transition. We don't use the word retirement. I just wanted to share some of the things that we're doing. We are definitely in the clean energy space, and we're looking to see how we're going to make that transition. And to make that transition is going to require a lot of people. Some of the jobs have already in existence, some don't exist, some to be created. Nevertheless, we have to be prepared. So I just want to share with you a couple of things that we're doing. And yes, we're definitely in the community making a difference. The one I'm going to give you first is Grid Turn. Those are internship opportunities for individuals who are in college and looking to become a member of National Grid for the summer. I'm giving you the other one, GDP, the Graduate Development Program. Those are for students who have graduated from college and they're looking to become a part of the National Grid program. I'm giving you those first because the deadline for any opportunities is October 15th. So I have the links that I'll share, but if you know anyone who's in college or graduating from college, it is a great opportunity to start getting your foot in the door for National Grid. We hire our interns and our GDP students before the end of December for them to start in June. So we're right on time, but I need you to get the message out because there's not enough of us that look like us coming through that program. So I'm depending on all of us to get that word out. So can I have some help on that? That sounds a little weak. Can I have some help on that? you're in a position to take this information and get our students involved. We can't do it by ourselves. We can go out and do those things, but it's the ground root efforts of individuals like yourselves getting the word out through your networks to ensure that we have a pool that we can pull from. Okay, that's one. The other thing is we're looking at incubator programs. We just had a clean energy tech initiative. We worked with St. Francis College, where we brought in individuals who were looking to be in the clean energy space. So we're looking at new startups. They came into National Grid. They work with an organization called Clean Tech, and we had an incubator program. There were semifinalists. We hosted the semifinalists, and we're looking to see how we can bring those individuals into the company. The other one is the Grid Collective. When we're talking about entrepreneurship, the Grid Collective, a lot of people will say, well, how do you get into our company? Well, the Grid Collective is a program recently designed by National Grid specific for MWBEs. And the idea is to be able to train and show you how to get into our National Grid program. I have the flyer here, and I also have the information on where you can actually sign up. We're working with NYSERDA, but we're also working with another Black-owned company called Soulful Synergy. And they're working to get us working with us to get those individuals like yourselves a part of National Grid. We just had our training yesterday, so it's alive and it's happening. So we just did the training at your college. So we're working not only with your college and other institutions, but I encourage you, I implore you to find out more about these programs. Other things, we work with nonprofit organizations, 500 Men Making a Difference. We provided funding, about $50,000 in grants for them to be able to implement a workforce development program. We work with OBT, we work with the Brooklyn Chamber, we work with a whole host of organizations. Have we worked with you all yet? Why is that? I'm sorry, why is that? Okay. I'm talking about, well, we know CASONY's coming. I'm talking about anyone else. Have we worked with you yet? Have you heard of these programs? Are you familiar with these programs? Okay. So one of the things is really being educated about the programs that we have. What that's telling me, we have to do a better job in getting our message out. So we start today, we start now. I start with you, each and every one of you, to help get our messages out. There's also a program that we're working with the incarcerated women that's coming out of Long Island to be able to provide opportunities for women who have been incarcerated to now be a part of National Grid. ICODI, we're working with NYCHA. Has anyone heard of what we're doing with NYCHA? Okay, we have a clean energy program and academy with NYCHA, working with NYSERDA. They're starting this year. We're also working with ICODI, which is a nonprofit organization where we're going in and we're underwriting computer centers being put into different NYSERDA facilities. So we have a lot of things going. I can keep going and going, but what I need you to understand is that, one, I need you to get the message out. Number two, I need you to be a part of the process, because there are going to be a lot of jobs out there in the clean energy space, and if we don't take them, somebody else will. So I'll stop there. There may be some other questions, but I wanted to share that information with you. And we have a lot of work to do. We're just getting started, and I look forward to the journey of all of us working together. Thank you.
Renee, thank you very much. Horace, I have an idea. I'm assuming everyone who came registered, so we should have email addresses for everyone that's here. Renee, if you could email us a little something so we can get it out on the mailing list for everyone who registered that was here tonight. Okay, great. I'm going to put it up on the CASONY website as well. All right, our final speaker for the evening, Alida Perez, Brookhaven National Lab, Manager of Educational Programs, University Relations, and DOE Programs. CASONY has a unique relationship with the Brookhaven National Lab. Not many people know about the Brookhaven National Lab. 7 Nobel Peace Prize winners in science from BNL, right out here in our backyard in Long Island. doing a whole range of stuff in the community as well. CASONY is in the process of working with BNL to have high schools from Jamaica, high schools from Brooklyn taught scientific computing, the ability to code, to do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go any further. Alita, come on up and tell us about BNL.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So as said, my name is Alida Perez, and I am from Brookhaven National Lab, one of the 17 national laboratories. So we are the only lab in the Northeast multidisciplinary. We are in Long Island. If you go to Long Island, exit 68, that's where we are. And I just want to share with you, and we echo the same. So the same what has been said before. Our lab is not very diverse. There are few of our staff that just look like us, particularly in the STEM area. As you move up, there are just fewer of us. So I work for the Office of Educational Programs, and our office develops and engages programs all the way from elementary school, high school, college, and graduate, and also we have programs for faculty as well. So I would leave some information here for all of you. For our elementary programs, they are free. We have a capability of doing that virtually, so we can connect with the schools in the schools and also in our site in Long Island as well. We have programs also try to create a pathway for our students when they come in and they engage with us, and we retain them and nurture them as part of our community. So we have a high school research program that we have for high school students, 11th and 12th graders, and they spend a time with us for 6 weeks to learn about the science that we do. It's a time of discovery, and we have no pre-requirement. All we ask is the student is interested, willing to spend the time and learn something new. And most of our students that do our high school research program will come back to us as our college students. The Department of Energy has paid internship programs that we do for college students in summer, spring, and fall. Students can apply to any of those. It's just I'm gonna put a plug in. Our application for a DOE internship program will open October 17th, and it will close on January 9th, okay? And student can apply to any of the 17 national labs. I said, come to us first, and then you can go someplace later. Someplace later. And we do research, as I said, we're multidisciplinary, so we do research not just in the energy, and energy and how you take that energy, integrate it into the grid. We have an active battery storage research ongoing at the laboratory, as well as a solar energy conversion, but we also look at the other sciences as well. And so that our internship will open up very soon. And as I said, we not just engage our college students, but we also engage our faculty. So the Department of Energy hosts what we call the Visiting Faculty Program. It's a program that is mainly geared to faculty that come from minority service institutions. And so what we try to do is engage our faculty in kind of expand our network of peers in our laboratory for our scientific staff, and at the same time give the faculty a way to network and build the research environment and the research capacity so they can go after higher grants or tier one, what we call research tier one type grants. And so that visiting faculty program, a lot of our community college in the area qualify for the visiting faculty program. And if a school is an MSI, most of them do qualify. And if a school is a HBCU, it automatically qualify for the visiting faculty program. So it's different ways to engage our community. It's a different way to engage, not just we do it through not just at the elementary, high school level, but we can engage them at the college level, and also our faculty, because we know that if we engage our faculty, our reach is even greater and broader. We have had some of our college internship students have come to us and stay with us as an employee. So again, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to leave this out. Soon our college internship program will open October 17th. Thank you.
So we've heard from three very important agencies: the New York City Department of Transportation, National Grid, and the Brookhaven National Lab. there are very good opportunities out there. So now it's your turn to ask questions. And I'm going to ask Carlos, Renee, Alita, very same thing. We have email addresses for all of the registrants and all the folks that are here. So if there is any information that you think would be very useful for us to communicate, so we're building, we're working together, we're going to make this happen. All right. So, floor is open. Kaya, could you come up here for a moment, please? Here's a microphone. Here's a microphone. If anyone has any question, you get to ask the first question.
Thank you. Thank you. Horace told me I had to break the ice. No, but I do have a serious question. We mentioned STEM. Now, the A missing from STEM is architecture. Are there any opportunities? I have a daughter who's just completed a grant for some architectural, landscape architecture work in Syracuse. She's a third-year student at the Environmental Science and Forestry, SUNY. Brilliant. The students up there are brilliant. How does architecture, landscape architecture, aid in our preservation of energy or reduction of the use of fossil fuels and others? And are there any grants available that you know of that students can participate in?
There's a microphone there. You could just, so I don't know who wants to take that. Just flip it on, turn it on.
So, I'm going to say architecture, but I will say that when I think of architecture, I think of design, CAD, right? CAD opportunities. And so we have great mapping systems that have to be maintained. That's a form of architecture that's available there within the company. Everything has to be mapped, all our lines underground. When you're up, in downstate, we're only gas, right? Upstate, and then Massachusetts, and then also in the UK, we're electric and gas, and depending on what part of the region. So it may not be landscaping, but I would look at it and maybe expand it to CAD or mapping type of design type of work that could help with that.
I agree, and some of the stuff that we do at the laboratory, we use, a lot of our engineers use CAD in design and development. And so that's another way to kind of integrate those skills. And then as those skills, nurture and develop, you can decide wherever you can take those tools to apply it elsewhere. So I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, there's quite a few contracting opportunities at DOT. As you can see, we go down Flatbush Avenue. There is these flower, we call pedestrian ramps there. There are architects who help design those programs. That is done, DOT funds it, but the charter says DEC does the procurement. So the Department of Design and Construction, Tom Foley and Maggie Austin, she has a robust program to help architects to help design the ped ramps. Also at DOT, we have this project coming up that we're under development on Park Avenue. I don't remember exact location, but Park Avenue, which we're going to have an architect to help design that space to create an open street kind of concept to stop the cars coming so that people can enjoy the street and roads. And then we have tons of architectural engineering stuff for the structure of the bridges, the tunnels, and the roads. They're not quite yet in the NWB small purchasing program from $20,000 to $1 million. Those are usually lumped into the bigger contracts. However, Beyond works to kind of debundle some of those contracts to give college students. We have had discussions for college students sometimes, also for other upcoming small businesses to do some of the architectural engineering work.
Thank you for the question.
Good evening, panel. My question, Carlos, is for you. First question. First of all, let me compliment you. You're a big, strong guy. So when you said that you're there for us and you're representing us and our needs in the community, I take you seriously. But what's the culture like in your organization? Does that culture support?
Am I being taped?
Yes.
Like I said, we under new leadership, so new management. Donis Rodriguez, I can honestly say, I was supposed to leave there for a bigger and better job. I stayed because of him. After listening to his mission and vision, I've worked for some of the top transportation leaders, and they're all lip service. He's the first commissioner he not only says what he means, but he does what he says. I'll say this. Every Monday we have a senior staff meeting, and his first agenda item is minority contracting. Its main focus is how we serve our community and how we spend money in our community. So he asks us questions every day. Why is this road down in Fort Greene is fixed second when the one on Fifth Avenue, Park Avenue is fixed first? He asks us those kind of questions. He holds us accountable to ensure that we're equitably serving our people and also serving contracts. Secondly, the numbers talk, right? Before him, it was at 11%. He appointed me in this position to people who look like us. It's a difference when a person that look like you is in it. I feel your pain because I don't live in the suburbs, I live in Brooklyn. I've been this, I've seen this. So there is a good culture there at DOT. Do I say that we need to improve? Yes, there's a little bad apples that I'm trying to uproot, and it takes time and time. But overall, like I said, I'm there, my eyes and ears. If you call me, if you're not getting paid, anyone knows, I get the contractors paid, and I kind of maneuver things. Some of the things is also in our contract documents, some of the contract specs kind of hindered smaller businesses, saying that you gotta be 30 miles from Columbus Avenue. Come on, how many companies have an office around 30 miles from Columbus Avenue? That means you have to have offices around those rich neighborhoods where the high real estate thing. So we've removed some of those contract specs that has hindered our people. We've raised lower the number from 5 million to say you need just 1 million of prime or subcontracting experience. So those are some of the things we've noticed that has historically stopped small black businesses and brown businesses, and we have removed those impediments and barriers out of the way to create opportunities. The catch is, though, what I'm finding is there's movement within not just DOT, many of the agencies, but because of historical concepts and perspectives, we have seen black and brown folks have not applied. You gotta be in it to win it. And I'm telling folks, please jump in it because this is your time. Your mayor, your congressman, your assembly folks, your senators, the commissioners, they're all minorities. This is the first time ever, so if you're not in it, you can't win it.
Can I just do a follow-up question? You want me? No, go ahead. So, I thank you for your response. And, it's good that you feel that you're unleashed enough to do this. However, there's another complexity. Just the process of getting into that MWBE slot. The paperwork is enormous. It's overwhelming. How do you mitigate that? How do you rationalize that for the average person? And this comes to you as well, Renee, because my concern is that I know you've been sounding the trumpet and all that for a long time, but we seem to be the last to know what's happening. I want to thank CASONY for at least having this forum so we know, but we are usually the last to know about these wonderful, grandiose programs that you have. I published a newspaper for the last 20 years. I didn't know about this. Why don't I know?
No, go ahead.
So there's so many things you have in there, so many layers of that. Well, I'm glad you told me you grew a newspaper. One of the new initiatives I created that every procurement opportunity must go through 15 ethnic media papers. I want to make it 16. Because one of the things you said, that information does not get into our communities. So I realize that everybody doesn't know what City Record Online is. Everybody doesn't have a passport account. People read the Caribbean newspaper. People read the Sun. They read the Amsterdam news. They go on blogs. They go on Twitter. They go on. So there are various ethnic media papers that can reach places that I can't reach. So we realize we've gone above and beyond, and we're the leading agency now. Commissioner Adonis actually hosts quarterly every ethnic media outlet to come to our building, and we just sit down and tell you everything about DOT, what's going on, what's next with procurement, the roads that's going to be closed down, and so forth. So we've got to do a better job to reach the Caribbean community, and I'll talk to Horace and Gerald and see if we are the people that we pick, or if these are the right people and media outlets to reach them. Secondly, the other question that you had is that the bureaucracy of the government, that's not going to change, I'll be very honest. However, what has changed is you have people that come alongside of you. I don't know if you guys know that Department of Small Business Services, you can go to any one of their workforce development places or any spot, someone will sit to interpret, to help you fill out the form right there and then. I had a nice dinner with Gerald and them, and I explained to them, I gave them the full who on the procurement. I have events at my office where I bring people just like you and kind of water it down to simplify all those requirements and say, this is what you need, this is what you do. I'll be very honest, they have simplified those forms down from 50 to 60 pages now down to 20 to 30 pages. It's not going to put them down any time. You got to think about it. How can I award a business and you don't even have a bank statement? They're asking for simple things, the bank statements. Let's be honest with ourselves. We put our money under our mattress, we do all these other things. We don't practice the best business practices. So what we're trying to do now at DOT and other agencies to help Black and brown business to get to the same level of every other business is teach them the basic places of balancing of the sheets and pricing and so forth. So they are free, it don't cost anything. Free programs at SPS that help you with these kind of things. I'm there, and various other CEOs are out there to help you to mitigate some of those challenges and interpreting some of those difficult questions that's in those forms.
Dr. Clive Williams, thank you very much for the question, sir.
Just to add on to that, you asked about the culture. You asked about the culture there. I've seen Udonis in action from a distance and before he got into that position. I'm going to tell you, his mantra is in the minority community. I've seen it countless times. I thought it was just, once in a while, but he infuses it, and he believes in it, and he's approachable. That's a big, big part of it. All right? Is another question?
So, Renee was going to comment.
I just wanted to answer the culture and then the next phase. So, culture definitely needs improvement. But when you're sitting in the seat to make a difference, you have to utilize that ability and that power to make a difference. So, to give you an example, our intern came out of Clarkson, young Black woman. She came in, she was the best. She came in, we had her for 3 years straight. We brought her in. I was able to bring her in as our community coordinator now. When we sit in our seats, we have to use the power that we have because we don't know how long it's going to last. So you have to but you bring in the best and the brightest. So it will not be you're bringing in a quota. So you have to be mindful of how you bring people into our companies, all right? And then you want people like a Rudy Winter, who happens to be the New York State president for National Grid, who is a Black Caribbean man. He's there. We're getting him out. We are going to areas that we haven't done before, like the faith-based initiatives, positive communications, dealing with those magazines, being in other spaces that we haven't been in before. We weren't big in the faith-based communities, but now we're going out there and we have a whole faith-based program that we're implementing, a part of the Great Collective. So I would say to you, challenge us, put us on the spot, because we know we have a lot more work to do. We're looking at our contractors because people have come to us and said, you're major contractors, we don't see any of us out there. So those are things that we're watching and bringing back. Is it going to happen overnight? Absolutely. Are we way behind? Yes, we are. Do we have a lot to catch up? Yes, we do. But when we're sitting in those seats and we have the power to be able to do it, we have to do it. On the other side, you have to be prepared as well. When we're going out, and that's why we have the Grid Collective program, because we're finding a lot of people are not prepared. How do you get people prepared so we can accept you not only as subprimes, but as primes? We want primes in our company, not just subprimes. So we're saying we have to do the work. Does it require more work sometimes? Yes, it does. But we're willing to do the work to ensure that we get the necessary look that we're looking for a company. Culture, we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. But we continue to push on. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big thing for National Grid. Not only do we need to talk it, we have to continue to make sure we're walking it. Because the talking, we don't want to hear it no more. I don't want to hear it no more. I want to see it. I want to see it by action. I want to see it when we're walking in the streets and the people that are working for us look like us, not only on the entry level, but at every level.
Thank you, Renee. Dr. Perez, I'd love for you to comment on it as well with regard to BNL culture, some of the changes going on, and how we can make it a more inclusive workforce.
So, probably you all know, that in the STEM field, there's just not a lot of representation. It just simply there isn't. And so, are we making, we're working diligently hard to really bring in a diverse pool of candidates that, that can work fit in the science that we do. Because as probably you know, aware, the national labs are very mission oriented. So we just tend, we have very specific science that we tend to do. Like you said, it's work, it's hard work. And when we are in this role, we take in our office, that we take our role very seriously. So we start very young at the high school level. We have a program that we bring at the 9th graders, and we nurture those students. They're your communities, and it's a program, one of the very dearest to my heart. We bring them in, we nurture them, we follow them up, we make them know that they're part of our community. And we work really hard to find faces that look like them. There aren't that many, but we work hard. And what we do, we try to bring those students from our 9th grade to our 11th grade and to college. And that takes a lot of time. And the way I feel about it is that it's just making a little change one step at a time. And we do a lot of effort through our DEI office to also have in our college internship programs to make sure that our students are seen. One of the challenges that I've seen over the years is that there's a lot of quick perceptions are made, particularly where the students are coming from in terms of their college, right? Ideas appear very quickly. So we make quite sure that our students that our applicant pool is seen. It's socialized among our mentors, our staff, and then the staff we talk to them about the students' applications in terms of where they're coming from and what does that mean, so they understand the choices that they have to make. Are we there yet? I don't know. No, I don't think so. Are we making efforts towards that? I think we are. I think we're making efforts to where I think it's going to take some time. Like I said, in STEM, it probably will take a bit longer, particularly in certain areas of STEM. But I'm pretty positive that through our educational programs, we are trying to make that dent into the system. But it takes effort, it takes time, and so it is also making sure that our students, when they are engaged in it, I agree with you, bringing the students that are really interested, that they want to do this, because they're the ones that are going to continue to stay. And like I said, we put an extraordinary amount of effort to ensure that there's a personal connection with all the students that we meet. That they're not just a number to our paper, because we're not, that they're just not a number. We make that connection with all of them, and then personally, it's a joyful thing when they come back and they tell me what they have been doing and where they are. And even better if they decide to come back and work with us or work within the STEM field. But we're not there yet. We're just making small, dense, significant dents, however small they might be, with the goal that that perhaps will change in the next generation or so, perhaps sooner.
Thank you, but I do want to put in a plug for Brookhaven National Lab. I mentioned this at the outset. CASONY has been working and is working with the Brookhaven National Lab on do something pioneering to build the pipeline. This past summer, CASONY sponsored teachers from Jamaica and teachers from high schools in Brooklyn, where the staff of Brookhaven National Lab taught the teachers. It's a train the teacher program about STEM for the teachers to then go back to the schools to teach the kids, with the anticipation that the kids, once they complete the program, they then qualify for internships at Brookhaven. And so that's an ongoing program. All right, some more questions, please.
So my question is regarding the minority business certification. What is it that you guys are doing to, I didn't hear you guys talk about being certified like city vendors. Vendorship is super important to getting contracts. So is there like training pertaining to that, or are you having discussions within your training regarding that? Because you gotta be a vendor to actually get a city contract or government contracts. So that's my question.
I'm trying to understand your questions. You're saying, are we developing folks to understand what is needed to be a vendor?
Right, becoming a vendor, yes, that a part of the training process or information sessions that you guys are having with, because I'm a vendor, so, and I know the process is like more like there's a gatekeeping thing happening and it's like a who you know kind of thing, so that's why I'm asking about that.
So Department of Small Business Services is the arm that's responsible for all certifications for the city of New York. As an agency, we partner with the Department of Small Business Services to help. I will go and teach a class, I'll go and teach procurement, or I'll also go have a fair with both of them. For instance, we have an event November 30th, which I'll send to you guys. We're talking about doing business with New York City DOT. Basically, that is an event where you meet. It's a unique event. It's not like how you go to Barclays and meet all these people. No, you're going by each division of the agency. And the agency heads is going to be there for those divisions, telling you what they need. But also, we have the Mayor's Office of Contract Services will tell you the necessary requirements needed to do business with the city. Then you also have the Department of Small Business Services right on the spot will start the application process for you to be a MWB certified. So we are working on that. And thirdly, there is a new initiative that we're just waiting for Kathy Hochul to sign, to tell you legislators to push it and sign it, where they have a citywide mentoring program. What we've noticed is that we have a lot of black and brown firms who have the skill, but they have to upscale their skill to a bigger magnitude. It's one thing to do electricity for your house. It's another thing to go do electricity on a street pole, deal with pedestrians, dealing with all of these things. So now we have the citywide program, which was legislation, it was approved in the House and everything, so we just wait for the mayor to sign. Where you'll get a contract, walking alongside you will be various folks from the agencies and also different expertise and lecturers to help you navigate through doing the paperwork and doing the work while learning on the job.
Thank you. Any more questions? I see Andrew in the back.
Thank you. Andrew Reed, Con Edison. Just a question directed at Renee. I need to kind of share some of the Teach the Teacher program. That's really fascinating. My question is on pipeline development. One of the things that we struggle with is overall hiring and making and finding people that are actually interested in the energy industry. Some folks that come along with the energy industry sometimes they're not their first choice. A lot of young kids that are in data science, data analytics, they're looking at the financial industry, they're looking at Googles of the world or YouTube and whatnot. And so what can we do better? How can we do better at attracting that talent and making the energy industry more than their first choice from a pipeline development standpoint?
So, we're moving away from the fossil fuels as we know it today, correct? Right? However, there are other industries within that, like renewable natural gas, like hydrogen, all those type of things. So the STEM component is very important as a fundamental foundation to that. But not only are those jobs at the company, there are non-engineering jobs at the company, what we tend to forget, like marketing, social media, finance, all those other components that are there as well. So when you think of a utility, we get focused on the STEM piece, which is extremely important, but there are other components as well that we can't put off the table, right? So my background coming into the company was computer science. That was my degree. I ended up being in corporate, right? So there's ability to transition within the company itself. We want to start at the intern, if it's opportunity, to get you in the company. So once you're in the company, you have an opportunity to see what else is available there. So it's more than just a pipeline, that's important, but it's hard to talk about the pipeline when you're moving away to clean energy. So where are the minds? I was listening, someone shared with me that an organization decided to sponsor the YMCA swim teams. And it's swimming at YMCA. And they did it for the young people because they knew that they're going to need deep sea divers for the solar. So they got them interested and they said, well, in order to be a diver, you need to know how to swim. Yeah, if you don't know how to swim, you can't be a diver. So where do we start to build at that level in the mindset of thinking beyond the box, what we want to accomplish, let them, or teach people how to swim first, get them interested in swimming, and that will give them an opportunity to understand there's an opportunity in deep sea diving. So it's really thinking out of the box. When you look at all the technologies that are coming down, how are we going to make that mental transition of not doing business the same way on how we're going to get things done? We were just myself and others were in Martha's Vineyard. We work with EEI, AID, National, and the Urban League, National Urban League. And we brought in presidents, our two presidents from New York and Boston, Massachusetts came in, and we brought in industry leaders to talk about the workforce development. We also sponsored HBCU presidents to come in, to have candid conversations, no mics, no media. It was closed door conversations about what we need to do. Those are conversations that need to start happening to get people not only into the colleges, but having those conversations so we understand what the workforce needs. Because right now, in some cases, we don't know. And again, when we're looking at the pipeline, right now we're moving natural gas through. That's a molecule. If there's a different molecule, how do we train them to move those different molecules and use the same infrastructure?
I'm not calling when I said pipeline, we're more like talent development.
More like,
Talent development, not actual like the.
pipeline. So you got me down the pipeline, so let's see where my head is, right? That's where I go, right? But that's part of it too, that's part of the pipeline. Again, that swimming analogy, starting from that. And so we sponsor organizations at the levels that Brookhaven has. And we're looking at how do we build those pipelines at all levels, right? Because you want to get them interested at a younger age, to introduce them to the energy field, not just for turning on gas or turning on lights, but what's behind getting into that space.
Thank you, Renee.
Don't get me started on pipelines.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Sandra. I am a high school teacher. I really created my company because I found that we weren't finished. And when I say that, how do you approach an interview? How do you do your homework? Like, I asked some people, what is this company known for? Because sometimes you do projects in the community and the kids are looking at you like, they give electricity, yes and no. They sponsor Formula One, right? Something like that. They wouldn't know. So I started my company in April, and I survived that, how do I say that? Trying to get a contract, that website, I survived it half crazy because I had to do my executive summary. And I write well, but there's a way to do it. So I'm going to need your help. So I need it because we are on a razor blade without the hammer, it's bad. We've got to get it done. And it's a terrible analogy, but that's how serious it is. Because if they slip, and you have a little cut, you know what's coming. How do I get those students? I love them. That's why I chose high school. Because they're there. They're ready to strike. But they don't know where to strike. And I want to help. I need help. I can't do it on my own. But I'm just saying that I'm here, and honestly, he said, talk, let them know. So here I am.
So I want to comment on that before I ask our panelists to chime in. There are a lot of professionals in the room. Please make sure you network with some folks before you leave tonight. And I asked Horace to make sure we have, if you registered, we have your email address. We're going to be sharing information so we can talk to each other. There's a lot of talent in the room. There are folks who know the business, especially the energy business. There are a lot of energy professionals here tonight. We need each other, and that's one of the reasons why this event is being held tonight. Sure. Wade.
First off, I think it's extremely encouraging that the panel, you guys are trying to advocate for change from the ground level, right? It's not the lip service like we always hear. My question is related to AI. So you have consulting companies that are saying that within the next 5 years, 30% of the work is going to be automated. You have a company like OpenAI back in December, $10 billion was invested by Microsoft. They're one of the fastest companies to reach 100 million users. So these seismic changes that are happening within this industry. So from the standpoint of workforce development, how do you, what are your thoughts on how we can prepare? Because Renee, you mentioned, teaching the kids how to swim, right? To prepare them to be divers, right? So is there an analog for that, in preparing them for this new technology, this AI, which all companies are going to obviously try to implement in their workflows?
So very sad. I started because I tried to collect my thoughts. I think that really is to make the change. I think we have to look at the way we really expose our young students, in a non-traditional way. So to do that, the student has to have some level of computer science, right? Computer language, right? So I think the school system has to start looking at it very early. There are many ways to teach a young student about coding. There are many tools that you can teach that, right? And so it's incorporating, it's taking demystifying the topic and incorporating in that particular skill, right? That particular tool, and teaching them how that can apply, right? So, because we cannot ask our students, and I see it a lot in some of our students that we get even from our internship program to our college program, right? They come in, we have our mentors that have these questions, right? I try to figure out a question to a problem, a solution to a problem. But the students sometimes don't come in with those tools that they need. And so there has to be a different look in how we teach those aspects in our schools. And so incorporated some aspects of computer science, for example, if you want to do that. The reality is that if we want to get to that, to advance it, to have a seat at the table when those jobs become quite widely available, our student needs to have those tools. And those tools, the basic tool of that is just a computer language course, right? Understanding how to frame them, understanding how they apply, and then they can take it for whatever they want to do. And so the way we tend to approach that is we have certain programs that we create at different levels. And our intent is not really to make them expert at 7 years old or 8 years old. It's just simply to introduce and demystify and teach them that it's a cool thing to do, right? That this is cool, that is nerdy, but it's cool, right? And then the hope is that the early engagement as they come, then we take some of the students will come to our high school 9th grade program, and we increase it up bring it up to a notch level, right? This is a little higher. And we just been piloting a program that we bring them back for 10th grade, and then bring it up a little higher. And then we said, if you do this program, we will place you in our high school program, and then you get to test what you actually learned, right? And we find that if we demystify and we create those pathways in that way, they have the skills and the tools to move forward. So I think to us to be available and ready to do AI and have a seat at the table, we really have to start that. And we have to really engage our younger kids in basic math and basic coding to be part of that.
All right, but we're time limited, so if you could just, I'd ask each of the speakers to just, kind of make some final comments, because we're going to be wrapping up
I would
soon.
say it starts with the toys that you buy them as children.
Yep.
Okay? I buy educational toys for Christmas. They're fun, but they're educational. ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Because you're ingraining in them at a young age before they get to school. It sounds simplistic. I used to buy my great nieces and nephews only books. I may not have been the baby aunt, but they could read. Okay, so what I'm saying is that think about the things that you're putting in your children's hands at younger ages. Because by the time they get to you, if they can't do 1, 2, and 3s, okay, and the schools are not doing the 1, 2, and 3s, then it's incumbent on the parent to do the 1, 2, and 3s. So it sounds very simplistic, but sometimes simple is the thing that really builds a foundation to move forward. So just something to think about. Just think about the toys that you buy at the holidays, the birthdays. What are you giving the young people as gifts?
Carlos?
I'm not an expert in that, but I think it's about partnerships. I think all of us, from what I'm hearing, is that it takes a village to raise a child. So it's going to take the government, it's going to take the churches, it's going to take you and me. And I think that's not just in dealing with AI and children. I think this is about in everything. We're better together. I think that if we take our collective thoughts and our ideas and information and share our resources, we can do much better. We are too much in different silos and competing with one another, and I think I'm glad for CASONY to bring all of us together in moments like this. And we got to do this more often. I think if we do this more often, we will get to better results. I'm learning new things, I'm meeting new people, and that's going to help me and build my network and build my understanding. So it's the same thing. Let's be more consistent and let's not make these too far, so far away every 5 months. Let's try to make this more monthly, where professionals and folks like-minded can be together and share knowledge and skills and networks.
Thank you very much. All right, we are getting ready to wrap. Horace, I'd like to ask you to make some final remarks. And I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Make sure you network, exchange some phone numbers. We have the mailing list. We'll be sharing some information. Horace, if you could take it away, please.
All right. We're running short on time. Said that we're going to 8 o'clock. I definitely want you guys to have a chance to network and get to know each other, because we have some awesome people in the room. But I'm going to share just a really, really quick story. Hopefully I can get it done in just a couple minutes. To piggyback on what's being said right there. And that is, as I look out into this audience, we all have a role to play in this. Because children are encouraged by the people and the parents and the community that they're in. I'm going to share a quick story about me. What I always wanted to be when I grew up in life was a garbage man. And folks who know me knows that story. The reason I wanted to be a garbage man was this. My best friend, when I moved on the block, I came up from Jamaica. I was like 7 years old. He came up from North Carolina. Jonathan, his father was a garbage man. His father always had money. His father seemed to always be home. They had a dog, and he had a limo for his car that he doubled up to do some work. I wanted to be like Mr. Fagan, right? I wanted to be a man who was going to be able to take care of my family. And that was what it is that I see. And though it was I wanted to be a garbage man. I wanted to be someone like him. And I wanted to know that if I had a child, I'd be able to take care of him like that. So we, as a community, have to be visible to our children. Okay? And I'm going to leave it at that. I want to thank you all for coming out. We absolutely have to do this more often. And we have to build on this. Because there is a whole plan associated with this organization, working with Dynamite. I have to recognize from Just Soul, Miss Tanya, who's Tanya. We just got to recognize for helping to make this happen. We have Dr. Iris Bramble from CRC. And I'm going to end it here, but we are hosting, Caribbean Research Center is hosting a fundraiser on Saturday the 21st. So I hope you all will come on out and support CRC. They're having a fundraising dance. Come on out. And with that, make sure you get home safe, and thank you so much for coming out. And wait, a round of applause for our panelists, please.
Support doors in the back, so feel free. Help yourselves on the way out.
Safety, safety.
If you could populate to the back. All right. All right, Mr. Gus.